Greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, Senior Fellow at the Media Research Center. You guys remember the old cartoon, The Roadrunner? Remember that villain, the character Wile E. Coyote? How Wile E. Coyote would always send off to Acme Products to try to get the latest, the newest, greatest way to try to catch the Roadrunner? Of course, they would always fail. Well, that relationship between Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner kind of reminds me of the relationship between the progressive socialist left and President Donald Trump. See, President Trump is the Roadrunner, and the left is doing everything they can. They keep sending off to Acme Products to try to get something that they can use to catch the Roadrunner. They've tried the whole Russian collusion thing. They've tried the racist thing. They've even opened up a box called recession. But they all just seem to fail. Well, now the left has stooped to, well, what I think is an incredible new low. They have called off to their little Acme Products, and they have gotten a new box, something they think can really trip up President Trump and the Republicans. And you know what it is? You're going to be shocked. The left is invoking the Bible and the Constitution against Republicans and President Trump. Yeah, go figure. It happened just recently at the Democrat National Committee summer meeting out in San Francisco. A great place to talk about biblical principles and the Constitution. But anyhow, let me read you what happened out last Friday in San Francisco. A speaker at the Democrat National Committee summer meeting Friday said if free healthcare is labeled socialism by Republicans, then they should acknowledge that the Bible must then promote socialism. Yeah. Well, this came from Reverend William Barber, a very, questionable fellow from back in the Carolinas, I believe North Carolina. But anyhow, this is what he said.
If someone calls it socialism, then we must compel them to acknowledge that the Bible must then promote socialism. Because Jesus offered free health care to everyone and he never charged a leper a copay.
Huh?
These guys. Look, man.
DNC Chair Tom Perez and others in the audience gave a standing ovation before Barber took a shot at Republicans, saying,
You want to have, it's time for us to say, if you want to have a moral debate, bring it on, baby.
Well, Reverend William Barber, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. And yes, I do want to have a moral debate with you. And I want you to bring it on. Because I find it absolutely perplexing that the same Democratic Party that just in 2012 booed God at their Democrat National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, is now invoking the Bible, invoking Jesus. And oh, by the way, Reverend Barber, I think it's kind of blasphemous to, place Jesus Christ in the same box as health insurance companies. I don't think Jesus is like Aetna or Cigna or anybody else, United Healthcare. But then isn't it also kind of interesting that the people that are always chiming about the separation of church and state are now invoking Jesus Christ as a justification for Medicare for all? Kind of interesting, isn't it? I'm happy to have that moral debate with you, Reverend, because you are siding with a political party that embraces infanticide. And if you are truly a man of God, someone that promotes the Bible, not just a certain political ideology, then you would not be standing and demanding a moral debate, because this is something that violates your own principles. And furthermore, Reverend Barber, as a black man, I don't know why you would stand supporting a party that supports a person that was a racist, a white supremacist, that spoke at Ku Klux Klan rallies by the name of Margaret Sanger, that founded an organization called Planned Parenthood, that in the past 46 years, nearly 20 million black babies have been murdered in the womb. So yeah, I'm happy to have that moral debate with you, Reverend Barber. Just call me up anytime. You can contact my friends here at the Media Research Center, and they'll put you in touch with me. As a matter of fact, maybe we could have Brent Bozell host a debate between you and I. Now let's talk about that whole taxation thing, since you're all about using the Bible as a means for justifying socialism. Even in the Bible, God only asked for 10%. You're hanging out with people that want 70 to 90%. So what does that tell me? That tells me that you think that those folks, those Democrat socialists, they're more important than God? Way wrong answer. I kind of like that 10% taxation thing. Maybe if we had that 10% taxation thing, we would have better stewards of our taxpayer dollars, which is what God is, because he returns blessings to you 2- and 3-fold. I don't think that if I give Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Robert Francis O'Rourke, or any of the other leftist chuckleheads 8 or 9 times more than what God asks, they're not going to be good stewards of my funds. And I'm certainly not going to get any blessings back from those folks. So, Pastor Barber, I just want to ask, what kind of reverend are you? Are you a reverend of the Church of Progressive Socialism? Or are you just some charlatan that's out there cherry picking? Are you part of the ranks of the other right reverends like Reverend Al Sharpton and Reverend Jassy Jackson? And remember that even Margaret Sanger co-opted black ministers and pastors to enact her heinous and insidious scheme of killing generations of young black babies. So, yes, Reverend William Barber, I'd love to have this moral debate with you, because I find it absolutely offensive that you would be part of this cherry picking of God's word for the purposes of advancing progressive socialism. Because the Bible that I know says this in 2 Corinthians 3:17. Now, the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. See, secular humanists don't believe in individual freedom and liberty. And Pastor, you should know that salvation and the grace of God is not a collective thing, but yet you're hanging out with collectivists that believe in, well, the whole groupthink thing. Salvation is about the individual. Let me tell you the best way to describe people like Reverend William Barber. And it comes from Paul, who wrote to Timothy in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 3-4. For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside to myths. Jesus Christ did not promote socialism. That is a myth. And to believe that progressive socialism is going to make this great nation even greater, that's a greater myth.
Breakthrough Media.